My name is Mike Kruzeniski. I'm a designer at Twitter. The presentation is about just things that have been on my mind recently about sort of craftsmanship in working in digital products and how designers are what designers are doing to sort of get closer to the output of their product.
When I was thinking about this conference and what design can do, I'm thinking about it through sort of that lens of what is the design, what is the role that design is playing where I've worked. I started 9 years ago working for a studio in Los Angeles, a Nokia studio called Insight and Innovation. And the role of the studio was to sort of challenge the different kind of things that Nokia was working on, business models, the products they were making, and really come up with these sort of elaborate visions and concepts for where the company might go, sort of things along the lines of what you're seeing here. Doing these sort of like really interesting sort of touch interfaces and products that connected across your whole house, and it was a lot of fun.
Most of my talk was concerned more about sort of trends and ways of working that I'm seeing emerge, and less about specific projects that I did touch on very briefly, creating environments where great design work can take place. So, in building out this studio where I work now, how do you have the process and the culture so that designers can think big, feel free to fail, but get close to the product also?
When I got started actually working for a company like Nokia, I felt like a bit of a minority among many of my peers who were sort of going to work for a lot of large consultancies. Working in-house in many ways was not seen as sort of the best place to go work as a designer, and I think that's been shifting quite a bit, and I think it comes from especially where I am, that ability to be as close as possible to the work that's going on and be partnered up with the PMs. Working in-house is not just about the design work itself, but how you integrate with the people that are making the product, how you are connected with the engineers on the floor, the leadership in the company, because you're thinking about how do we, not just what's the next product we make, but how do we change the entire culture of the company. And that I find is largely a part of my work as I've been working in-house, is how do you bring design into the culture and make the whole company think in design with a design methodology.
We work with a lot of engineers and product managers, sort of very much looking at what is the next thing we're going to build, and how does we use stories to sort of shape, hey, where do we want to go and what are the steps we need to take to get there, and telling a story from the user's point of view so that we understand we're not just building technology things, we're building things to help people do things and achieve things in their lives and communicate and connect and build relationships. So I think stories are a way to both communicate why to build something and then also why to use something and why it's relevant. Stories are a great way to make something really understandable and relatable. Connecting Film was a project I worked on with some colleagues at Microsoft. We were just curious about the state of interaction design in general, and we had a number of questions about what designers were working on, what they care about, where they see the future of interaction design and design in general. And from that we put together a video that we felt sort of told the story of where design is right now and where it's going, mostly in the context of interaction and software design. But it kind of paints a picture of what's on interaction designers' minds right now. It tells a little bit about what interaction design is, but mostly we're focused on like what is interesting to other designers who are working in the same field as us, and what do they think the big problems are that we need to solve in the next few years.
All over the world, things are changing at a speed that is, kind of both terrifying and exhilarating. I think one of the exciting things about the design industry and the creative process is that they can help. And I think what we need is for designers who can be embedded in the topics that are really important right now, and for there to be a better synergy between design and business, design and social change, design and entrepreneurship. They can't solve them on their own, but they can certainly help us to come up with more creative solutions.
I think some of the problems with interaction design, right now that we're facing are technology is moving at an incredibly fast clip now, and I think in some ways it's moving faster than people can even keep up with in some cases. And I think as interaction designers, the challenge is to continue to make those things meaningful and relevant and help shape them so that technology isn't just about continually sort of pushing what's possible, but what's valuable and what's useful and what's meaningful for people, and hopefully that that technology is helping solve meaningful problems.
Designers can help. We play a large role, but we can't fix everything. But the best way to get involved is to pick the problem that you care about and get as close to it as possible. And for me, that means getting inside the companies that I think are working on the things that I think are really important and I want to help change, and get obsessed about it. Live with it day after day. Spend years in that company understanding the problem, from every possible angle, and then think, make. So it's not about just a grand vision and going, here's where we need to go. It's constantly going back and forth. It's the vision and the craftsmanship together on a daily basis. Thank you.